My name is Gregory, and this happened on the night of December 25th, a night I thought would be as ordinary as any other I had spent alone during the holidays. I remember the air being colder than usual that week, the kind of biting cold that sneaks through the cracks of a house built long before proper insulation existed. I had been looking forward to nothing more than a quiet evening, a warm blanket, and the faint glow of the Christmas tree. But sometimes, the most unassuming nights have a way of unraveling into something you never forget, something you'd do anything to unremember. The house felt especially still that evening, as if the whole world outside had paused. Snow softened every sound. Even the passing cars were muffled into a distant, harmless whisper. I'd spent most of the day wrapping up work for the year, and by the time night settled in, I wanted nothing more than to sink into the couch and let the exhaustion melt off me. The fireplace crackled with a lazily burning log, and the dim, warm lights of the tree blinked in their slow, rhythmic pattern. It felt safe, familiar, like a kind of calm that follows a long storm. I didn't intend to fall asleep on the couch, I rarely ever do, but fatigue crept up on me in that quiet, comfortable way it does when your body knows it's finally allowed to rest. I remember tugging the blanket up to my shoulders, letting the warmth wrap around me while shadows stretched across the walls. I could hear the wind nudge at the windows and thought how lucky I was to be inside, in my own little world of soft light and silence. I must have slept for an hour, maybe two. When I woke, it wasn't dramatic, not the jolt or gasp you see in movies, just a slow resurfacing into awareness. The kind where the air still feels heavy with sleep and your eyes blink as though adjusting to a dream that hasn't quite let go yet. The fire had reduced to glowing embers and the room felt slightly colder. The clock went just past midnight. That's when I noticed the envelope. It was resting neatly on the floor in front of my door, a single red envelope with my name written across it in handwriting I didn't recognize. I blinked at it a few times, half wondering if it had been there earlier and I'd simply missed it. But I knew it hadn't. I had a clear memory of walking past the entryway before lying down. There had been nothing there. Something about the envelope felt wild. Not threatening exactly, just out of place, like a puzzle piece belonging to a different picture. I pushed myself off the couch, dragging the blanket with me like a shield, and walked toward it slowly. Each step felt heavier than the last, the wood creaking louder than usual beneath my feet. When I picked it up, I noticed it wasn't sealed. The flap rested lightly against the back, as if whoever had placed it there wanted to make sure I'd look inside without any struggle. My fingers felt stiff against the paper, a coldness spreading through me that didn't belong to the house. Inside was a Christmas card. At first glance, it looked like any other card. Festive border, small printed snowflakes, a cheerful shade of red. Nothing alarming. But when I opened it, a photograph slipped out and fluttered to the floor. I froze. Even before I picked it up, I knew something was wrong. Terribly wrong. The photo was of me. Not a photo from last Christmas or some forgotten gathering. No, it was a photo of me lying on my couch, sleeping, wrapped in the same blanket I had been wrapped in just moments earlier. The fire in the picture was at the same stage it had been before I'd awakened. The angle, it wasn't taken from outside the window or from a reflection. It was close enough that the photographer must have been standing just a few feet away from me. The realization hit slowly, like ice forming under the skin. This photo was taken tonight, taken while I was sleeping, taken without me ever knowing. My first instinct wasn't fear, it was disbelief. A sort of numbness washed over me as my brain tried to rearrange the pieces into something rational. Maybe it was an old picture I didn't remember someone taking. Maybe it was edited. Maybe anything. But none of the explanations fit. The blanket, the position of my arm, the dying fire, everything matched the moment I had just awakened from. Inside the card, in the same unfamiliar handwriting as my name on the envelope, was a single sentence: "Sweet dreams." Just those 2 words, no signature, no hint of who sent it or why. The room suddenly felt colder. Every soft creak of the house transformed into something intentional. I could feel my heart pounding against my ribs, loud enough that it seemed to echo inside my head. My breathing grew shallow, and for the first time that night, I became acutely aware of how alone I truly was. I turned toward the front door, half expecting to see scratches or pry marks, anything to prove someone had broken in the traditional, explainable way. But the lock was untouched, the deadbolt still firmly in place. There was no sign of forced entry. I checked the windows next. The latches were secure, the glass unbroken. Everything appeared exactly as it had before. And yet, someone had been in this room, standing close enough to capture my sleeping face. The thought made my stomach twist. I moved through the house with a kind of frantic purpose, checking every corner, every room, every closet. I threw open the bathroom door, peered under the bed, even opened the attic hatch despite the coil of fear tightening in my chest. Nothing. No one. But the absence of a person didn't bring relief, it only made the situation worse. Whoever had taken that photo had come and gone without leaving a trace. They had walked through my home silently, confidently, as if they knew the layout, as if they knew me. The idea burrowed deep into my mind like a splinter I couldn't remove. By the time I finished checking the house, my nerves were stretched thin. The card and photo sat on the living room table, the image staring up at me like a silent accusation. The version of myself in the picture looked peaceful, unaware, almost vulnerable. Seeing myself that way through someone else's eyes made my skin crawl. I didn't sleep again that night. Every sound kept me on edge. The ticking clock, the wind pressing against the siding, the distant hum of a passing car. I left the lights on, all of them, as if flooding the house with brightness could somehow ward off whoever had been here. I sat on the couch, gripping the blanket like armor, my eyes darting toward the windows every few minutes. I kept replaying the moment I found the card. The placement was too precise to be random. Whoever delivered it wanted me to find it right after waking up. They must have been watching, waiting. How long had they been nearby? Were they still out there, hiding in the shadows of the street, watching the glow of my windows? When dawn finally arrived, the gray-blue light creeping over the snow-covered houses, I felt no relief, just exhaustion and a lingering fear that clung to me like frost. In the daylight, the card seemed smaller, almost harmless, but the memory of that night refused to flatten into something explainable. I kept the photo. Not because I wanted to, but because part of me needed proof that it happened, that it wasn't just a dream or a trick of my tired mind. Even now, looking at it, my skin tightens. Every detail is too sharp, too real. I never learned who took it or how they got inside. I changed the locks the next day, installed cameras, replaced the windows, even started leaving a light in every room. But deep down, none of it felt like enough. Because no matter how many precautions I take, there's one thought I can't shake. Whoever stood over me that night, whoever watched me sleep, they were close enough to touch me, and I never heard a thing. And the card, those two unsettling words, still sit burned into my memory. Sweet dreams.